This is the future.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Warframe video. Before we start this guide, I would like to say a few words on what you can expect from this video. First of all, the Warframes you will see here are those Warframes that has high usage rate when it comes to real mission. Level cap and endurance runs are not the basis here of why I picked these Warframes. Instead, I will share to you what missions are they capable of dominating with their respective builds for that specific missions also. Remember, there are tons of missions in the game and it would be unfair if we just based it on what is dubbed by some as the hardest mission in Warframe. Also, rest assured that I have used every builds I will show in this video in real mission and not just sit in the simulacrum for hours pretending that it's the best build for all mission types. So now let's get into the video and we will begin it with the new Prime Access Gauss Prime. Like I have said in my previous Gauss Prime video, this Warframe is one of those Warframes that don't need the helmet system to be good. His kit can do it all. He has speed with his Mac Rush ability. He has good survivability against physical heat, cold, and blast with his kinetic plating, while the rest of the damage types can be taken care of with a good mod setup. He can also nuke with her thermal sunder or even armor strip when you combine heat and cold to form blast while you are at 100% battery charge. And best of all, he got an ability to boost your gun's fire rate, your melee's attack speed, and your ability's casting speed. A full package Warframe that is loved by many as it's a very versatile Warframe that can kill using his abilities and weapon buffs, control the area or nuke them while on the go, and survive almost all the missions in the Warframe that most players are farming. Such good example of these missions are Steel Path Relic runs, Steel Path missions in general, Conjunction Survivals, Airman missions, Whispers in the Walls missions, and even Canuck and Steel Path Duviri circuit using a thermal sunder build. Overall, Gauss Prime is a great Warframe to have, and he can now be obtained easily with the help of Prime Access. Moving on, we got Wisp Prime. Although Gauss Prime has better survivability with kinetic plating in my opinion, Wisp Prime can still survive on its own by pairing his increased health and health recovery with her other abilities that gives her stealth and aggro control. Many players argue that the second ability of Wisp is best for subsume abilities, but they fail to understand that its purpose is a quick escape and even can be spammed to create aggro control. When you cast this, nearby enemies will target the Spectre and this gives you time to jump into the air and render you invisible. Her biggest asset though is her motes that provides buff not only to the Warframe, but to the whole team, and the best part is the ability has no expiration. You can have the action speed, health, and health regeneration buff, and as well as electric damage buff from her motes for eternity as the motes does not expire and all you need to do is get close to it to receive the buff. Admittedly, she is not a Warframe like Gauss Prime though that you will think twice of using the helmet system as in my opinion. Her fourth ability is a free slot for subsume abilities and I pick Nourish to make this Warframe better in team composition. Not only that, the ability provides insane energy regeneration when paired with Zenurique, but I get to use Viral also in my weapons which provides more damage output overall. So far, Wisp Prime is one of the best Warframes for almost all content in the game, and there's no wonder why she sits at the top 3 of meta Warframes in the game right now. Another meta Warframe that is still very useful is Wukong Prime. Now, the Warframe received a big slap on his kit after the ammo nerf done by Digital Extremes. Kuvazar Wukong was a thing in the past, and you can literally just use your clone to do an AFK farm in missions. But now, the unlimited ammunition is gone on his Celestial Twin, and it's almost unusable with all guns in the game because it also depletes ammunition now, and even with mutation mods in your build, you will have a hard time pulling off the same kill speed that a Kuvazar Wukong can do in the past. While I still enjoy guns with Celestial Twin, but it's better with melee right now or with using its exalted melee weapon. Aside from that, Wukong is still a meta Warframe in my opinion, since he got enough survivability to finish even the hardest Steel Path levels with ease. He also got speed and mobility, and this is why the Warframe is still top dog. His Cloud Walker allows you to speed run anything in the game, and most of the players don't use this, but Cloud Walker also has the feature wherein you can escape dangerous situation easily. Unlike Gauss Prime and Wisp Prime, Wukong Prime's Cloud Walker has invulnerability that can also make his clone immune to all damage. Best part is it's a movement tool wherein you can just pass through and move to a different location quickly. Lastly, while his fourth ability is serviceable right now and fun to play with, I still ended up using Roar as a subsume ability most of the time, simply because when it comes to versatility, Roar provides me better kill speed while Wukong is holding a good gun or melee. Eclipse is also a good option, but the weapon buff is not reliable, especially in dark places. places. Next, we have Kullervo. If you are a melee guy, then you will love Kullervo. This warframe can make melee weapons hit millions of damage even without other buff sources. If you have a good melee or great hybrid melee, then expect nasty red crit with its Wrathful Advance ability, and take note, it doesn't matter if your melee have a shitty critical stat, as Wrathful Advance will still make it red crit. The good thing about Kullervo right now is he can survive steel path levels easily with his recompense. Aside from the health regen, recompense ability can give you overguard that will negate all status effects including stagger and knockdown. It additionally has a 0.5 second invulnerability gate when fully depleted, preventing any excess damage from leaking into their shield or health pool. The only problem I have with my Kullervo build right now is that I subsume Nourish to replace his fourth ability. While Collective Curse is great in spreading the massive damage you get from a red crit melee, but I don't often use it in real mission. His fourth ability has this feature wherein every hit will give you combo count, which can help you maintain the 12 times combo multiplier of your melee weapon. So if you are planning to make a god build for Kullervo, then subsuming Nourish into his third ability and using this build will suffice. Next, let's talk about Garuda Prime, more specifically Thermal Sunder Garuda. The Heat Thermal Sunder's damage increases exponentially per cast in the past, and you can abuse this with Garuda since she got an ability to restore her health by sacrificing her life. You can endlessly abuse this with the Malt Reconstruct Arcane and nuke even Steel Path and beyond enemies easily. While Thermal Sunder only has 50% power from Gauss battery when subsumed, still, it destroys everything per cast of the Heat version. But the exponential damage increase is gone now, but still, this is still being used by many players as it still can be serviceable in level 120 and below. Now that's about Steel Path levels, and Garuda stays very effective in clearing rooms with a Thermal Sunder setup. Also, let's talk about Necros Prime. I was having second thoughts of who is the best farming warframe in the past. It's really a competition between Korra Prime and Necros Prime, but with all the additional features that are now available to Warframe, I can confidently say that Necros Prime is the best farming warframe in my opinion. While I like chill farming with Korra Prime with her pilfering Strangle Dome in the past, Necros is still the best as it provides extra loot in an aura-based ability called Desecrate. The best part about Desecrate right now is you don't actually need Despoil, as Equilibrium can pick health orbs and convert it to energy. Even with my low energy Necros build right now, I can still maintain it while Nourish and Desecrate is active. Nourish increases the energy restore of Equilibrium also, which allows me to maintain my energy and provide extra loot drop with Desecrate. On top of that, Necros is not locked into using just slash melee weapons right now, as you can use the Ripkas equipped with the Amalgam Ripka's True Steel mod to deal 100% gore chance. The gore chance mechanic is also considered as dismemberment and works with Necros' Desecrate ability. While gas and electricity damage are sometimes inconsistent in bisecting body parts, other damage types will let you rip off big portion of enemies and has a chance to provide double loot. And lastly, Necros is close to unkillable right now with the shield regeneration, shield gating, and close to 99% damage reduction setup with the help of Shield of Shadows. This is truly a remarkable farming warframe, and while Korra provides chill farming or Hydroid being reworked, still, I will pull out Necros out of the closet whenever I need to farm resources. The next warframe in the line is Mesa, and probably the warframe that will always exist when we talk about the best in the game. Peacemaker Mesa is really broken, as it literally lets you turn the warframe into an aimbot. Now, I know that I am talking too much about Nourish here, but when subsuming the ability into warframes, it literally fixes their energy problem without Arcane Energize and give them viral proc. These are two features that makes warframes great, and when it comes to Mesa, Nourish completes the warframe as it gives out viral to her regulator pistols, which then lets you combine it with radiation and corrosive right now to further boost your galvanized status mod damage. There are also options right now to further increase the DPS of your Peacemaker, like the secondary outburst that provides critical chance bonus to your regulator pistol. Pair this with Ceramic Dagger with a initial combo setup and you have a decent boost in your critical chance. Then there are the Topaz Archon Shard that provides critical chance buff also, and of course the Red Tau Forge Shard that has secondary critical chance bonus. Also, Emerald Archon Shard for full armor strip is a thing right now with Mesa, but the only problem though is that you need to pair it with other sources of corrosive stacking, such as Dorigal with corrosive. The reality is, even if my Mesa Primes build can effective stack corrosive, but in real mission, Peacemaker will be shooting a handful of enemies, and it's not a beam weapon or a nuke weapon that can inflict corrosive stacks to multiple targets. Red Crit Mesa can be achievable with Topaz Tau Forged Archon Shard right now, paired with Secondary Outburst and Arcane Avenger, which will boost the overall damage of your Mesa even without armor stripping. The best part is, when a Peacemaker build alone, Mesa can complete anything in the game that requires fast and easy killing or defending targets. So far, Mesa is one of those super busted warframes in the game right now that only uses one ability to obliterate everything. Speaking of a press one button to win warframe, I also include included here X on the list, simply because this Warframe is a perfect example of one button press Warframe that can both kill and survive. With X Intrepid Stand Augment, you can have as much overguard as you want while pressing her fourth ability. And again, with Nourish, X becomes a complete Warframe since it will give you that insane energy regeneration when you pair it with Zenuric's Wellspring and his Rally Point ability. But here's another broken thing about the Warframe, and that is after overguard, you also can abuse shield gating mechanics since his Rally Point allows you to gain shield per kill. On top of that, the shield and the energy regen from Rally Point are also granted to your allies, and as well as the overguard you acquire from your Intrepid Stand Augment. While having insane survivability, you will also be killing enemies with the slash and bleed procs that your ultimate ability can inflict. Next, let's talk about Revenant Prime. Enthrall and Reeve, or even Disco Ball Revenant Prime, are cool builds, but if there's one purpose why play this Warframe, then it's because of his Mesmer skin ability. Enthrall and Reeve combo is busted that you can one-shot most of the trash mobs in the game, even with overguard when you pair it with viral procs. There are also instances wherein his fourth ability is useful, and with the current state of the game, which allows your Sentinel to override health orb drops, then pair it with Equilibrium to maintain your energy, Revenant's fourth ability can be maintained for longer periods right now. However, most players play Revenant Prime because of Mesmer skin, since this ability makes him the real immortal Warframe in the game. Mesmer skin makes you immune to all damage types in the game except for magnetic procs that deactivates your abilities. While you may think that it's not that great because it doesn't give you full invulnerability like Valkyr's Hysteria, and instead it's in the form of charges, but the fact is, every time enemies hit Mesmer skin, they will get stunned for a few seconds, which also acts as a good crowd control. And it also has a safety as it also grants 1 second invulnerability after Mesmer skin charges are consumed. This allows Revenant to be great in endurance runs and best in boss fights as the Mesmer skin provides full protection. Not to mention that he also now got Mesmer Shield that grants your allies 5 invulnerability charges also from Mesmer skin. While it's not broken, but that 5 invulnerability charges will help, especially if your Revenant can just recast Mesmer skin anytime he wants. While you may think that it's not that great because it doesn't give you full invulnerability like Valkyr's Hysteria, and instead it's in the form of charges, but the fact is, every time enemies hit Mesmer skin, they will get stunned for a few seconds, which also acts as a good crowd control. And it also has a safety as it also grants 1 second invulnerability after Mesmer skin charges are consumed. This allows Revenant to be great in endurance runs and best in boss fights as the Mesmer skin provides full protection. Not to mention that he also now got Mesmer Shield that grants your allies 5 invulnerability charges also from Mesmer skin. While it's not broken, but that 5 invulnerability charges will help, especially if your Revenant can just recast Mesmer skin anytime he wants. Next, let's talk about Rhino Prime. This Warframe has undergone some changes on his iron skin, and instead of ferret armor, it is now in the form of overguard. The effects though haven't changed, and it can still protect you from almost all damage types in the game. Just don't get too close against nullifiers, or all that hard work getting millions of iron skin will be gone in an instant. The best way to still get millions of armor is by grouping enemies together with Magus Anomaly Arcane from your operator, then casting his first ability with the Ironclad Charge Augment. After that, activate Iron Skin and let enemies hit you to build up your armor stack. This is great build when it comes to endurance runs, but I did not include Rhino in this video simply because of this reason. The Warframe is a great progression Warframe as at early stages of the game. His ability has a complete set of things needed to help you finish all the levels in the star chart. Iron Skin is there for survivability, and in progression, you don't rely on just augments, but enemies hitting you and reactivating the skill whenever it's needed. Then you got Roar that increases your weapon damage. And also, you got insane crowd control with his Stomp that helps you complete defensive mission and star chart easily. While this is not a starter Warframe, but many players will advise you to make it as your starter to progress in star chart levels. Moving on, I would also like to talk about Chroma Prime. I know some hate Chroma and don't like his selfish gameplay, but every Warframe player must try this dragon as it mixes both damage and damage reduction in a satisfying manner. The best form of survivability is either stealth of invulnerability, but still having so much armor with Chroma and min-maxing his damage reduction is still fun. While doing so, you also increases the power strength, which increases the fury buff of the Warframe. He can be a good solo boss killer, a great solo endurance runner, a great credit farmer while doing profit taker, and just a great Warframe overall, which mixes damage and damage reduction through armor. With Gloom and a bit of shield gating, the Warframe can become unstoppable and worthy of playing for a couple hours. But like I've said, not all will agree because mostly of his selfish gameplay. Next is Titania Prime. This is also a good speedrunner Warframe because of her insane speed and mobility while using the Razor Wing ability. Her biggest competition would be Wukong Prime in terms of speedrunning missions. But Titania is special when you run it with events. The recent events in Warframe made Titania Prime more than just a speedrunner warframe, as she is a complete package when it comes to doing these types of missions. Titania was solid during Operation Plague Star, as she can complete the side missions and kill the boss with her Dex Pixia. The same goes with Operation Gargoyle's Cry. While she doesn't have the best damage output against fragmented bosses, but still, her Dex Pixia can contribute damage to the team and allows you to take down the boss easily. Also, her mobility is second to none, but the only thing that is better with Wukong is his Cloudwalker doesn't consume energy while active. Titania sometimes have a problem with energy, and this is one of those warframes that are better if you provide the combo of Nourish and Arcane Energize. Thermal Sunder Titania is also a thing, but only in specific missions right now, such as Relic Cracking and Void Fissure Exterminate missions in normal star chart. Aside from that, I would not advise doing Thermal Sunder in any Steel Path levels, as it will consume a lot of energy. In addition, Raffle Advanced Iwata is also a stupid synergy for fun, but we are talking about builds that can make missions easy, so it would be wise to go with Dex Pixia. Lastly, you can make solid defensive build with Titania using her Lantern, especially useful in interception missions. Also, let's talk about Octavia Prime. This warframe is a level cap goddess, as with her Mallet ability. All you need to do is drop the ability and see enemies kill themselves with their own damage. The good thing is that Octavia Prime also has invisibility on her third ability and weapon damage buff on her ultimate ability. While she is considered as an endurance warframe, some players still love the warframe as it destroys enemies just by using her abilities while not getting seen in the process. While it's not the fastest way to do it, but it sure is easy and a great alternative for those players who don't own meta warframes yet. Also, with the shield gating mechanic, Octavia Prime has found another source of survivability to combat dangerous damage types like slash and bleed procs. However, Toxin proc is still a massive threat, and best that you have arcane resistance to disable those status effects. Next, we have the broken warframe Saku. Want to run and gun gameplay or a lazy gameplay? Then Saku is one of the best warframe to do that. The warframe has it all to kill enemies just by using their abilities. They got armor and shield removal with the help of the Gaze ability. Then they have the fourth ability that increases the damage of your second ability. And lastly, you have their second ability that steals gun and make it your own, that inflicts void damage. The only fix I did here is obviously Nourish for energy. Because the Gaze ability is not mobile, I decided to have Nourish paired with the Zenurix Wellspring and the energy orbs that energy drops on kill. So I have enough energy to cast Gaze anytime I want and spam the fourth ability so enemies will increase more damage from Grasp of Loke. This build is great in almost every mission in the game, and while Nourish doesn't provide viral to your Grasp of Lock, it makes the warframe complete as it lets you spam their abilities. The only advice I can give while playing this build is to not get knocked down, as you only rely on shield gating and the clunky dodge mechanic of Saku for survivability. If you think preparation is not needed, then you can replace this with Prime Sure-Footed and also try to put as many Talforged Blue Archon shards for energy, so you can have all the necessary mods to create this build. And lastly, let's talk about Saren Prime, which is now part of the Prime Resurgence event, and if you don't own the Prime Warframe yet, then this is the best time to get it easy in the Prime Resurgence event. Although the nuking capability of Saren is not that popular anymore, but still, Spore Saren is a great room cleaner, especially right now that there are Emerald Shards that adds corrosive stacks and allows you to fully strip the armor of enemies after 14 stacks. This can be done quickly by using a Spore setup, and then we also have new melee arcanes in the form of melee influence that further spreads the status that your melee weapon have. Right now, I'm having so much fun with a dual Ichor Saren build that spreads viral, corrosive, toxin, and electricity rapidly to targets. Not to mention that Saren can also strip, and with Gloom, I have a small window for crowd control, which then gives me good survivability when paired with the armor and shield gate I have in my build. For shield gating, I just use the Brief Respite Aura mod paired with the Augur mods in my secondary. But right now, I'm still missing one more Umbra Forma to complete this build, since I also need knockdown resistance with Prime Sure-Footed. So all of the Warframe builds I have shown you have helped me not just progress and beat Steel Path levels, but also farm stuff that I need in Warframe easily. As you can see, most of my builds have Nourish, and this just shows you how insane the subsume ability with almost all Warframes in this video. It just completes the Warframe as it removes the energy problem and add viral procs into your weapons. This means that you don't need to rely on Arcane Energize, because with Zenurix Wellspring and the energy orb drops alone, it can provide you enough energy to spam your abilities. Lastly, take note that the Warframes here are also subjective, and they are based on my experience playing the game. These are all the setup that have made Warframe super easy and allows me to farm platinum super fast as a longtime player. These builds might not be your playstyle, so just get those bits of information to help you formulate the best build that will suit your playstyle. Before you go, I would like to announce that there's a Gauss Prime Access giveaway happening in our Discord server right now. The link to our Discord server is at the video description below, and once there, simply go into the giveaway giveaway and announcement channel to enter the giveaway. This is open to all platforms, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel as I'll be announcing the winner of the Prime Access here. And of course, once you won, you will get all the stuff from the new Prime weapons and warframes to cosmetics and bonus platinum. Good luck to all who have joined the giveaway, and expect more to come. So that's all about it. I hope that you have learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Squad Leader signing off.
This is the future.